measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls. The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.
We create
the smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women.
We can fight.
I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me. Many of these girls have faced unthinkable obstacles just to attend school. The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.
One stand still.
Your story is my story. Your story is my story.
Won't be shamed.
Your story is my story.
Buckle up, buttercups. It's another episode of Surly Voices here on WMNF Tampa 88.5. My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. My co-host Maria is joining via Zoom. How are you, Maria?
I'm doing okay. Buckle up indeed, because we got much to discuss.
All right,
Much.
let's jump right on into it.
I mean, is your head not spinning?
Yes, it's
Okay.
It's gotten to the point where, I mean, what in the world is Congress doing? Just sitting there doing nothing. Even the Republicans should be absolutely aghast at what's going on. But apparently they're just all riding the Trump train, and I don't understand it. And if you understand it, please explain it to me, because
I do not understand it unless they're all in on it, because one of my friends was incensed at the inauguration itself, like, how are they all cutting up and just giggling and all of this comedy and stuff like that. And you know, like, you can't tell us for 6 months that democracy is on the line and then just be knocking it back with these guys, and then here we are.
Right.
Democracy is on the line.
that was the whole plan with the Democrat side was, oh yeah, democracy is at stake and this is horrible and everything. And now they're like Chuck Schumer giggling up with some old ladies, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna fight. You're not doing anything, Chuck Schumer. I don't understand it at all. Elon Musk is now in charge of the money, apparently, and has...
No. There are children not of drinking age,
right,
in charge of you getting your Social Security or whatever benefits you are entitled to.
Right.
Okay?
It's a bunch
Your
of...
tax returns are in the hands of kids who still don't even, there's some of them are barely even registered to vote. Most of them are not even of drinking age.
And it's like, where did you find these kids?
And have not passed a security clearance. I read this morning that there was this one kid who the last firm that he was with had hired a bunch of ex-offenders who were convicted of cyber crimes.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his fingers in the kitty of the Treasury.
Right. They look like, if you see the lineup of them, they look like the incel class of 2020, and they look like they could probably be hackers.
The incel class of 2027, because they still do not look mature enough to be of 2020.
Right. But it's really, really disturbing, and he's got pretty much unfettered power, apparently, because, he's just rolling on along. And, you talk about people who are not of this country, of not born in the country. Well, look at Elon. Elon is South African. I mean, he may have gotten a citizenship by now, but he's the son of a South African emerald miner,
By the way, he was undocumented when he was here.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. So you're listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. If you want to join the conversation, give us a call at 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. History will not look kindly on A, our country, and B, our Congress for sure, because, the whole purpose of what the founding fathers did was to establish checks and balances. And the only checks right now that are happening is in the lower courts, where they're issuing injunctions or stopping, things left and right. But it's like, where is Congress? It's asleep at the wheel. It boggles my mind that people could think that what is going on is okay. And it's really disturbing to me, and I know it is to a lot of other people out there, just, pretty much coming in and doing whatever they want by executive order, which is not the way it's supposed to work. Executive orders are supposed to be for extraordinary things, not for dismantling all the systems that have been around.
But, the reality of it is that, they explained it, many pundits or politicos have explained it as his flooding the zone. Look at what he did when he was under indictment. Right? Appeal after appeal, go to court, go to court, go to court. So he's over there like with his box of crayons, signing off and executive orders, et cetera, right?
Yep.
And he's like, so what? Sue me.
Right.
By the time this goes through the courts, it's done. And he did this the first term, by the way, and nobody paid attention. He did a lot of unconstitutional things that even Republican appointed judges said, no, man, you can't do this. But it was too late by then. The damage was already done, number one. And number two, he already captured the headlines of, I'm big, bad, and bossy, and I'm doing all of these things. Right? Mm-hmm. And when it got overturned by the judge, you didn't hear a whisper in the media.
Right.
You didn't hear told you couldn't do that. You didn't hear any mocking. You didn't hear any humiliation. Everybody was as quiet as a mouse. And nobody confronted the reality of any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's going to happen again. And by the time this all rinses out, what happens? Who suffers?
It's not the billionaires. The billionaires aren't going to be suffering because they're all benefiting from what Trump's doing. Dismantling the Department of Education, it's like, okay, yeah, because what they're going to do is they're going to privatize education, and so all their friends can make money off of that. They can control the curriculum and all that stuff. And it's just a never ending. And it started, he hit the ground running. I gotta say that. Welcome to Donna, who joined us live. How are you, Donna?
I'm good. I was arguing with someone on Surly Voices that has lit up the page for the last, I would say, 32 hours, asking us what we think about Gaza being turned into the Riviera of the Middle East. And basically goading those who withheld their vote. There is one woman from, I'm not going to name any names this morning because I didn't ask anyone permission to share. Mm-hmm. And they're not local figures, they're just regular people. So
yeah.
Right. And that would be messy. So one woman has just lost her husband, is living in Ramallah. and she was not here for the shenanigans. Also, our admin, Nadia, whose name I can say, basically was telling her, listen, I'm never going to trust someone that oversaw the destruction and the murder, the
Right.
destruction of Gaza and the murder of hundreds, tens of thousands of lives. And I came in this morning in my long form post, and I said, listen, ma'am, you know, the one of my friends from that used to be with Democracy, one of the democracy groups in D.C., Jules, she said this moment was made possible by the president and the vice president.
Yeah.
Right, and their policies. And I'm in no uncertain terms. I said, listen, Nadia's right. Jules is right. This moment was brought to you by the refusal of moderate Democrats, namely those who led the country up until January the 20th, to not listen to folks who were saying, hey, this ain't our bag. Please don't send our tax dollars to do this. Now, we have very little control over what foreign powers do, whether it's horrible or not. We're watching Congo. We see this stuff happen all around the world all the time. Blood is not being shed. It's never been shed by a foreign entity, with the exception of 9/11, on U.S. soil. Americans don't want to see this. And they don't want to know that their tax dollars are going to it, right? Like a regular person doesn't want to see a genocide. And so we told them, they didn't listen, and here we are. And saying that this is our punishment somehow, this was always going to happen.
Right.
If you allow people to be genocided, the secondary move is to take their land.
Right.
You know, it was never not going to happen. So her thinking that, yeah.
And I just want to say this, Donna. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we are not even witnessing. Most people are not even witnessing what is really happening in Palestine right now.
Yeah.
They're not really witnessing it. Like, to get the information, the primary reason why they want to shut TikTok down and not Temu and not all these other things that are capturing your data is that TikTok is telling people exactly what is happening in Gaza. That is where people are on the ground filming that stuff and bearing witness to the actual genocide. A lot of it is happening on other social media platforms, but most people do not understand the very raw, like, lack of regard for humanity that is actually happening.
Can you name some of the news outlets that you're listening to that's outside of TikTok? Some people disabled it. I know the person that was trash talking on Surly Voices, Surly Films for the Revolution.
One that is very accessible to everyone is Democracy Now. You can download the app for Democracy Now on your phone, and you can watch their daily report every morning at 8:00, and you can replay it. If you can't watch it at 8:00 in the morning, you can replay it any time of the day. They are doing an amazing job of very balanced reporting. And nuanced reporting. You could also watch Al Jazeera, and you can watch that on an app as well that does reporting from Doha for the most part, and the United Arab Emirates. But you have to be curious, and you have to go outside of the U.S. mainstream to understand what is going on, and be curious. Don't take Al Jazeera's word for it. Go to Democracy Now. Don't take Democracy Now's word for it. Go to public radio and particular BBC when they broadcast it, or NPR. Go to there are actually Palestinian journalists on Instagram. Go there, find the information, and look for yourself. Discover for yourself.
Because, the American mainstream media is doing pretty much nothing to accurately report what's going on.
They seem to actually be encouraging it. if there's I've seen quite a few articles on from outlets like The Atlantic, New York Times, Mother Jones, that are explaining, if the argument is you think he can't do it, let us show you. They're doing the lawyering for his. They're doing the lawyering because there's a lot of shoddy lawyering. I think, I'm not a lawyer, Liz's lawyer, coming out of D.C. You would think that would have already foreseen some of these stop gaps in the law. They haven't. These periodicals are turning to their, lawyers / journalists, and they're giving them the playbook on, this is how you would invoke this. If you really wanted to do a third term, you could simply, 1, not leave office when the whole thing was over. 2, the RNC could run an alternate candidate and then have that candidate turn their nomination over to Donald Trump. They're telling them, because they don't seem to know, how they can steal this country. Now, there's other thing I wanted to say, and this is what I came in here to say this morning, because other than that, it's been a week or two, and I was going to take a mental health day. Okay? I came in here to say to the listeners that there's much more. Like, you can go and listen to Richard Wolff, Robert Wright, Chris Hedges. I posted some stuff from Shahid Bolson. He is a questionable. He is saying the right things, but he has a past, and I am aware of that, and I want you guys to know in case I post anything else by him. But his words and his mind, his mind is important. It's still important, right? But I'm going to look for alternative sources so that we don't have to, go with that. And you guys can Google it for yourself. It's pretty sensational stuff.
All right. We have callers been holding a while.
They've been holding, but this is important, right?
Okay.
And our callers tell us the same thing. And we are in the middle of a coup. And so these are things that must be said, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to get right on over to the amen corner here in just a second.
Okay.
But I got to say this. This is not business as usual. When Trump was in office the first time, and Maria, I want you to, hold me down on this one. When Trump was in office the first time, I would not be moved, honey. Okay? He was doing shenanigans, and that's all it was. And I helped I did mutual aid. We went to Puerto Rico. We did stuff here with the migrant community. We did stuff with the Muslim ban. We marched. We did our jobs, right? Trump's gone. We got Biden in, and we said, okay, now this is a problem, but it's a different sort of problem. What's happening right now, my friends, is a different sort of problem altogether. This is the leveling of the West for the purpose of redistribution of wealth among the global oligarchs. This is not just this is way beyond Democrats and Republicans. And so for those of you who are arguing the Democrat and Republican, the Dems are problematic, the Republicans are problematic, but that's not our problem. The problem is the entire global North is dismantling itself in pursuit of redistribution of its resources to a handful of people who will act as our global oligarchs. This is not about the United States. Watch what's happening in Argentina.
Okay, so let's go to Solar in St. Petersburg. Hi, Solar.
We must respect the indigenous people, respect them, and listen to them, obey their laws. America, respect their laws, thanks to the indigenous people. The radio show used to have a first voices with Ethiopia Ghost Voice. And we had the so-called first voices. I don't hear it no more, and it should be back on the airwaves. But America is about illusion and lie. Ain't no such thing about what's going on. People should be surprised. You got Gates, a pedophile, a known pedophile. You didn't get put in jail.
Yeah, he's never going to see the inside of a jail, Solar.
And we're going to accept that? We should never stop talking about that. You should constantly be exposed.
All right. Well, I have to let you go because we got the queue backed up, but thank you so much for calling.
Thank you, Solar.
All right. Let's talk to Jack in Dover. Hi, Jack.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I think the first thing that's like right on the tip of my brain that popped into my head when I heard some of the conversation this morning is the bike police that went on USF campus and were chasing the students off that were protesting against Palestine and the occupation and, you know, the children being massacred and that whole horrific thing that still is, you know, the top story of the day, apparently. And it brought to mind that back during Hitler's reign, there was a Jewish chemist that invented chlorine gas because of the trench warfare, and everybody was entrenched, and there seemed to be no end to the war at sight. So it makes me want to think that when you compare the plight of the Jewish people, the Palestinian people, and compare it to the plight of the African American people in the United States, oftentimes you hear the African American people say, "Don't let somebody do something for you that you can do yourself." And they've become strong as a group of people because of that. And I think that is going to be the only philosophy that will save the Palestinians. That once they get to the point where they can do for themselves, then no one else will be able to take away from them something that is inherently theirs.
Yeah, that's an ideal position, but we said that about Africa too. And look, as long as there's something of value that people with superior might want, I don't see how that can happen. If you look at what's happened to the indigenous all around the world, right in our front door, is the plight of the indigenous and all of the violated land treaties here in the United States. You'll find that if there is a superior power that wants it becomes near impossible. And there's not public outcry because there's dubious public outcry. Like people march in the street, but then there's a huge constituency of U.S. citizens who are perfectly okay with it and think what Trump thinks that what Biden thinks.
Okay, so we have to let you go, Jack, because we're backed up on the queue. So thank you for calling and keep listening.
I just want to say that even though there's a ceasefire in Gaza,
sort of.
there are Israeli tanks going through the West Bank, bombing civilian communities.
All right, so we got Fred in Clearwater. Hi, Fred.
Hi. How's everybody this morning?
Good. How are you?
Got 1 minute, Fred.
Yeah, you got a minute, so make it.
I really enjoy your show. I just want to point out one thing. Your radio station is funded by tax money, and it seems all the commentators only have a left opinion.
This is a feminist show, Fred, so...
Well, I noticed you mentioned a lot of different media outlets, but you didn't mention anything from the right, like Newsmax or OAN or Gateway Pundit or... Even
do you want to share something about them? You have your 1 minute. You can share something from them if you'd like.
If you want to talk about it, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to point out that tax money funds your radio station, and you have a one-sided view. You only promote left-wing ideals. You don't give any, except for me right now.
Right.
Well, that's
you're
the point,
one of
Fred.
many people that call in and have an alternative point of view. You definitely
That's why
do.
I'm calling, and that's why.
But you're not telling us your opinion. You're telling us that we don't share others' opinion. You're using your time to talk about what we don't share instead of sharing what you'd like to see here.
My opinion is that Trump is doing a great job.
Okay.
He's uncovered all this fraud and waste, and we should all pull together. People should walk away from the left, from the.
So I have one question for you before we go, because we got a line up here. I have one question for you. Can you please give me one concrete example of the fraud that Elon Musk has found, and as he pilfers through the public information?
Right.
Just one that you've
Okay.
read in Breitbart
Well-
or Newsmax.
Okay, as far as USAID, they gave $40 million to Gaza
Okay.
for condoms.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
false. That's why we don't listen to left or
Right.
to right media, because they have trouble with the facts.
I know it's funny and it seems ridiculous.
All right, yeah, we got to go.
But it is true.
We
Thank
did
you,
Also-
thank
did-
you
we
for
did-
calling, Fred.
Yeah.
You're
Thank you.
over your minute, so thank you.
We did give him an opportunity, though, to use his minute to share with us, to enlighten us with things that we're apparently not aware of, and he chose to tell us.
About condoms?
Yeah.
Right. All right.
And
So.
billions in
At the same
bombs?
time, all right.
Right. Yeah. So next we have Simon, who will also probably give us a unique perspective. How are you, Simon?
I am great. I'll keep it short. One app that I highly recommend is called Ground News. What Ground News is newspapers from all over the world. You're able to customize what news articles you would want to be interested in. Then what happens is the news article comes up, and you'll get a center-left view, you'll get a centrist view, and you get a right view, center-right. So you get to look at articles simultaneously. You can put an article in Gaza, whatever it is that you feel the number of the people that have been through Gaza's Ministry of Health, how many have died, and you'll get from Gateway Pundit to Breitbart to Huffington Post to Al Jazeera, all on the same website, and you can pick your news, and you can compare and contrast the verbiage and language in the article.
That's
I
awesome.
recommend it.
Yeah.
You do have to pay for that
Oh.
per year. The other thing is...
Say the name of it again, Simon.
Ground News.
Okay.
Ground News.
And you can customize it to whatever your perspective is. If you choose left-wing news, you can look at all the left-wing news. And if you want right or centrist, you can. It goes from AP to whatever view you want, the BBC.
Okay.
Last thing. On the BBC, I highly recommend people look up what was called the Balin Report. B as in baby, ALEN report. And what that was the BBC actually went to court and prevented the perspective of the Middle East. That was taxpayer dollars by the British citizens prevent a perspective of the Middle East. It's called the Balin Report. So much for quote-unquote unbiased news. And that's all I wanted to say, ladies. You have a good day.
Thank you, Simon. Bye-bye. All right, let's talk to Norm in Tampa. Norm, how are you?
Fine. What I find very disturbing, let me just say this. Let me correct something here. First of all, 40 million or so in $1,000.
You're breaking up, Norm. Norm, your phone is breaking up, and we can't hear you.
Can you move
Can
around?
you hear me?
Yes, now.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm going to say about it. First of all, let me just say about the condom store. Gaza, Mozambique. Look at this.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Norm.
Norm,
You're gonna
your
have to
connection
call us.
is really bad. If you try calling us again, then maybe we
Can you
can.
hear me now?
I think you had to call us back. I think we would hang up and call back. We'll see your name and then we'll bring you in. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this phone, but
All right.
it's
got 1
John
minute,
in
guys.
Port Richey.
1 minute.
John in Port Richey. Hello.
Hello. Well, I'll try to be quick, but three things. First of all, what Trump's doing in Gaza, that shouldn't be a shock to anybody that didn't vote for Harris because they didn't like what Biden was doing. Trump's doing exactly what I knew he was going to do if he got elected. And
Well, we're not going to be vote shaming, so.
That's it. I'm just saying, you get what you voted for. But the second point is, you guys said earlier that Congress was sleeping on the job. Well, that's not true. Those people in Congress, especially in the House, they got elected to support Trump, so they're doing exactly what they want to do and not challenging him because he's doing exactly what they want to do that they can't do because they'd have to do it through legislation, which they may not get it passed through that. So they're letting him do it through executive order and just violating the Constitution and walking all over the separation of powers. And the third thing about you guys being a liberal station, okay, fine. But something that a lot of people on the conservative side don't understand is the difference between opinion and news. And they listen to opinion and think that's news.
Right.
And just to give an example of
Good
how
point.
you guys will let the other side speak, Simon calls in all the time, and I'm sure he is not a liberal. So, and you let the other guy talk. So at least you guys have a little more fair and balance that Fox News claims they have, but they don't. That's all my points. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. All right. Now we'll try Norm again. He's back. Hi, Norm.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me now, right? First, let me correct the deception here when we talk about Gaza, that the condoms to Gaza. You know, it's Gaza, Mozambique. That story is to Mozambique because there is an AIDS epidemic or a HIV epidemic or disease running around, and the USAID supplied Gaza, Mozambique, Gaza territory, wherever that province is, in Mozambique, the $40 or so million. It wasn't all that one area, but it was all over the country of Mozambique, which is I don't know. Sometimes when ignorance is bliss, it's just followed to be wise on how these distortions get promoted. The other thing too is what you see in particularly when we talk about Mr. Trump and Israel, as well as a German concept called Lebensraum. Lebensraum, living space. In other words, what we do is conquer territory. It's from a guy named Ratzel. We came along, you can pull Frederick Ratzel. What Ratzel described was that any progressive society needs land in which to thrive.
Right, round it up for us.
Okay, he gets this from, actually, he came to Alabama from Germany to study the removal of the Native American. And Hitler, or the Kaiser bill, and both the Nazi Party adopted this concept and removing the Jews.
Got it. All right, we're gonna put a pin in that. Give us a call back next week, Norm.
Thank you, Norm. We got people hanging on here. Jiminy, hi. Thank you for holding.
Hey, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you. You got a minute.
Okay, so I want to talk about geography because when we talk about Gaza and the West Bank, it's a little confusing where we're talking about. Gaza is on that Mediterranean coast, but the West Bank is actually on the eastern side of Palestine, and it's only named that because it's west of Jordan. So even though there's a ceasefire in Gaza, we're seeing a lot of aggression in Jenin, which is on the eastern side of historic Palestine, because all eyes were on Rafah and on Gaza, and now we really need to be focusing on Jenin and the genocide that is continuing on that side of Palestine. And we're talking about like why they want these systems to continue, and it's all because like a lot of white power and a lot of white wealth was formed from colonialism, which is what this is. It's all a part of that system, and they're still trying to get it, even though, like, with acknowledgement of Black history and where wealth actually was stolen from, we're challenging that system in a modern day. And so I think that's why we're seeing all of this heightened aggression in the world right now.
All right. Thank you for calling, Jiminy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop right there. Okay. We are a call-in show for sure, but our show cannot be 90% callers, right? We got to balance this back out. So I'm going to go over and read some email. And let's see here. We'll start with Wendy. I appreciate your work and energy. I wait for your opinions, and you give me hope. Wendy. Thank you for that, Wendy. We have a text from Austin in Tampa. from the NBSF board says, a reminder to Fred that a very small portion of our funding comes from tax dollars. Less than a third, you guys. All right. We are listener supported, and Fred can stay on his right-wing media instead of clogging our space. Thanks. Austin and Tampa. The Rose says it is listener sponsored, and is there any tax money to support it? And I think Rose is all the best, Rose. I think Rose is referring to the current situation. Our current
Ain't gonna be no
situation.
more, yeah.
Let's see here. I love you all, Simon. Okay, so people have different opinions, and you can see we allow space for all of it here. Let's see here, and I think we've got some links that have been sent us that have nothing to do with us. And the last one says, correct that guy, ! WMNF is primarily listener supported, not taxpayer dollars.
Because, we say that every fund drive, and we're fixing to have another fund drive. So,
I'd like to do one thing here. I'd like to go and I'd like to get Fran and Jeanette, and then I would like to yield the balance of our time to our commentary and perspective.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's talk to Jeanette in Clearwater. Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Well, considering I'm okay.
Yeah.
But, I'm just wondering, there was a couple of things I want to say. One is, you guys didn't say PBS when you were talking about balanced news. I think PBS is good. But if you think
we said it, I said it.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I just heard NPR.
I said PBS and NPR.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. So, I listen to PBS every day, and so I always worry that they're just going to take it off the air one of these days. And, I feel like, Trump took a page out of, or many pages out of Mein Kampf, and we're totally going the Nazi direction. And because of them doing the money grab and the country grabs and land grabs and all that, and the control what other governments are doing, I'm wondering how soon will it be till tanks are rolling into our neighborhoods? And I know maybe that's out there, but I worry about things like that, where we don't have freedom of movement, freedom of speech. Do you see that happening? And the other question is, do you think that they could take our money, start going into our bank accounts and taking our money? Because, I think about leaving the country all the time. So I just don't know. I don't know what the solution is to what's going on.
All right. Thanks so much for calling, Jeanette. All right. Do we think... Well, tanks are in the road now, pretty much, and it's called police departments. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and we had that. We had the National Guard SWAT us and come down on us and hanging off the back of trucks, looking like we were, somewhere fighting a tribal skirmish, in another part of the world. We've had that already, and we will probably, in all likelihood, have it again.
All right, Fran in Largo. How are you, Fran?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just sick of people like that Fred that call in and always comparing the left, like to the old divisions of McCarthyism, like communists and stuff like that. It means the left means fairness to people. Is that so wrong? Just compare some of the things about socialism to Christianity, and they're in mess. They're the same, really.
Amen.
I am just sick and tired of people bashing the left. And right now, by the right, so much is going to be taken away from us. Probably Fred, too, in one way or another, is going to suffer from this. Myself, I'm on a fixed income, Medicare, Medicaid, and I'm just worried about that vulturous parasite Elon Musk getting his hands on people's benefits, and I hope I'll be able to call you people from when I'm living in a tent sometime. Okay.
Thank you, Fran.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So I want to talk about the comment that was made that, what do you mean, where's Congress? The Republicans are there to back his agenda. I want to remind everybody that every single person who takes an oath of office, swears to uphold the Constitution, and the Constitution is blatantly being ripped apart every single day here lately. And so, yeah, I expect representatives, no matter what side of the aisle they are on, to uphold the Constitution. And when they don't do that, then that's a problem. That's the whole purpose of checks and balances. All right, Donna.
You know, I cannot stress enough that I think we are, once again, we're looking at the icing and not the cake. You know, as is typical of us Americans, right? Because we don't have to go deep. You know, the news cycle is churning, a thing happens, and then a thing seems to go away or resolve, another thing happens. It's like tides coming in, right? Like waves coming into shore. And I think that at this point, there's a tsunami out in the ocean that's headed our way. And we've got to situate ourselves accordingly, okay? For some of us, that simply means moving out of the way. For those who can, you know, you move out of the way. And I'm going to leave that right where it is and not, you know, I'm not going to tell people to expatriate, but I am going to say that some people are so vulnerable that the only thing that works for them is to get out of harm's way, okay? There are others of us who have the resources and the impetus, you know, that needs to be in place as well, to stand up to the oligarchs, right? And I can't guarantee at this point the way things are going, because two things need to happen in order for us to feel comfortable in what we're looking at, okay? One is you're looking at it and you're thinking, this can't stand. It's impossible. And you look for those who would stand in natural opposition, in this case, the Democratic Party, to say, we're not going to have any more of that. No, thank you. Right? Mm-hmm. And they're not saying that. And those who are saying it, I don't know if you guys saw, the kids have Maria sent this to us yesterday. There's a TikTok going around, and there's Al Green, who just filed articles of impeachment against the president. There's Chuck Schumer. There is what is her name? Maxine Waters, looking like she's asleep. And they look very lethargic. Okay? I'm not going to be ageist here. I'm just going to say they look very lethargic. And they are Al Green's, I could see his cane in the frame, and they are trying to chant and seem energized and vital, but it's just not coming across that way. So the kids set it to clown music and put it on TikTok. and people
like... I'm old enough to remember Donald Rumsfeld saying, you go to the war with the army that you have, not the army that you wish you had. Well, baby, no one is coming to save us, okay? And it's certainly not these people. They look like, everyone standing there look like in desperate need of a B12 shot at the very least.
At the least.
And then only moments later, after I sent that to you guys, here we find out that poor Mitch McConnell, you know, fell twice on his way out of the Senate chambers after voting to approve one of these appointees, right? Yeah. But I will tell you, but what we've always said is, even with no matter how many, no matter how his deficiencies are, Mitch McConnell has always played the Democratic senators like a fine-tuned fiddle.
Yes. He has
He has been in the minority and has gummed up the works.
Yes.
And what do we have? We have Chuckles the Clown getting on X talking about, somebody should do something about this.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's what we have you there for, sir.
Sir, do we have to remind you what your job is?
Yes.
Yes, apparently we do.
Yes, we do.
I have heard, and by no means am I encouraging any sort of action, but I have heard that if you call up to people's offices and complain, that a note gets put into the record And that's how you get things done, is by calling people. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. I'm just saying that's what I've heard.
That's the same as, calling up your representative. Not only do you have the right to do that, we don't have to encourage people to take action. Our Declaration of Independence said it is our duty, right?
Yep.
When these usurpations, are repeated and relentless, we have a duty, not just a right, to stand up to tyrants. And so for those who have sworn the oath of office as officers of our congressional body to not stand up to what amounted to a digital coup is blowing my mind. And I think that's where my stranger danger hackles went up, was not when they were, because we knew they were going to do wild things.
Yeah.
Right? We knew it. The problem that I'm having is the lack of a response.
Yes.
And all of my friends from around the world, I have friends from Iceland. I have friends in the Patagonia region of people that I know. I wouldn't go so far as to call all of them friends, right? I don't have many friends. But people from all over the world are inboxing me on social media and saying, what is the problem and where's the response? What do you guys say to that?
I say that the Democrats are just laying down and playing dead. Playing possum is what we used to say in the country.
So I'm going to tell people, go ahead.
No, go on.
I want to tell people that you can, it matters more. They get a count in the morning of the number of calls that have come in. There were people who said yesterday that they have Republican reps, and the Republican reps have allowed their calls to go to voicemail. A lot of that started last year. As a matter of fact, I would say that the Republican offices, because I've had to call both, right, have been more responsive as far as, being organized and setting up visits and what have you. Right now, during the invasion of Gaza and the bombing of Gaza, a lot of those folks just shut down. Whereas before they were answering the phone, they stopped. I would say that for those people who have resources, another measure, and again, not encouraging the action, but just explaining how this works, you can go into an office, you can speak with staff. And when you speak with staff, whether over the phone or in person, they're supposed to make a note of the reason for your visit, your district, and your name, and submit that to public record. So you have these rights that are intertwined with their presence. Their offices are open for a reason. With all of the stuff going on in the world, you would think they would, have these, but they don't. If you can walk into any congressional building or office, Rubio shut his down when he was here. He did. He couldn't
you can't. I remember trying to get in Rubio's office, and they're like, nope.
And remember this, guys. I'm going to cut myself off and go in another direction. Remember this. The rule of law has been something that Democrat or Republican or other people have observed for the most part in this country. One of the problems that we're having is we don't really have a guide. We don't have guidance for when half of the members of our elective body and three of our three branches goes off script because they have a trifecta and decides that they're not going to observe the rule of law. This is the conundrum in which we find ourselves.
I want to read this email from DeMarco. He says, Biden and Garland failed to uphold the rule of law. They didn't apply the law and gain accountability. They lost U.S. democracy to a fascist coup. The merger of the government and business is fascism. We're there. I cannot co-sign that enough. When they didn't take Trump and throw him under the jail after January 6th, that is when everything was lost.
That's it, right? Say it again.
Because the thing about, I'm sorry, go on, Donna.
You got to say it again, because people that are saying that we're in the situation with Gaza that we're in because of Trump. No, we're not. We're in the situation because of what Liz said. This would have never happened. Trump is supposed to be locked up.
Right. Trump, all those folks in January 6th, I mean, that was the most horrible, chilling, unbelievable thing I ever saw in my life when they're storming the Capitol, when they're breaking the windows and they get slaps on the wrist, and the person who incited the whole thing walks away scot-free and is now the president again.
What were you going to say, Maria?
No, I think the thing about it is that, for the most part, regardless of your political theory, okay, when people sound the alarm of danger, danger, stranger danger, a democracy is at stake, but then your actions do not match your rhetoric, nobody believes you.
Right.
So if you are sitting here screaming at the top of your lungs that democracy is at stake, beware, beware, beware. If you're telling me that the house is on fire and you got Chuckles the clown and you got Merrick Garland, like, thinking that tomorrow is just a rumor and they'll get to it when they get to it, still arguing about where the buckets are, the fire brigade is, and things like that. Nobody believes that there's really a fire. Nobody sees the smoke.
Right.
Nobody sees the flames. Nobody's feeling the heat. And your actions don't match your rhetoric.
Right.
Right. And so Joe Biden, just as I expected, will go down in history as the worst president ever because he had the power to do all this.
My gosh.
He had the power in his hands.
But he was also the week leading up to his last week in office, gave another $8 billion to Israel.
Bro could have.
I'm sorry?
Bro could have also walked the ERA down to the archivist and had it archived.
Yeah.
He just said,
100%.
it's the law of the land, and walked away.
Yeah. Which is exactly what I expect. I told y'all this 8 years ago. It's like, this dude is trash.
Can I run through these texts right quick? And then Maria, the last word. Wendy called us, text us again, said, we have a duty to call Anna Paula Luna and tell her she's a Luna. I did that. I that was my, blurb. To submit a bill to put Trump's face on Rushmore. Reminder, she has 2 years. Yeah, we should primary everyone. If the government can take away your rights, you really don't have rights, just privileges. Yeah, that's kind of a thing. And let's see here. This is a long one. Thinking about leaving, people are protesting and organizing. That guy who was blah, blah, and saying this is being paid for by taxes, WTF, but whatever. Okay. Why are we talking about the Super Bowl and the fact that they took racism out of the end zones? Why aren't we talking about it? Because the bread and circuses comes secondary to a coup.
Thank you.
A coup. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, it's all performative anyway.
That's why.
These are the same people who still cannot recognize and admit that they were wrong about Colin Kaepernick. And you think I care about some letters in the end zone?
Right.
We should be boycotting the Super Bowl. We should be boycotting the supporters, the ad buyers of the Super Bowl. We should be putting our money where our mouth is. I don't care what they write in there.
Right. Exactly.
We're sitting around waiting for a beer commercial with an iguana in it.
Yeah, and I don't Super Bowl. I don't even know when it is.
I don't either. It's a drinking holiday.
So anyway, but yeah, it's and that's a whole nother thing too about how to respond to this. We said last week the big mass marches. There were marches yesterday. I don't think that they were covered by.
No one's even paying attention.
Nobody. Marches aren't the way to go anymore. It's much more digital and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a smoked cigarette.
Yeah.
Economics.
Yeah.
The only way to kill the beast of capitalism is by hitting them where it hurts. My dad always used to say to me, you speak to the man in the language they can understand best. And the only thing these people understand is the almighty dollar.
So let's come back ready to talk about that next week.
Yep. Thank you for joining us on Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5.